rain fell like a confession, washing the neon glow of the city into a blur of regret. Detective Alistair Finch pulled his trench coat tighter, the collar doing little to ward off the chill of the 1998 autumn night. A call had come in from the university, a strange one. A professor, a locked room, and a missing clock. Professor Eris Thorne was waiting by the heavy oak door of the physics lab. He was a man of frayed tweed and frantic gestures, his eyes wide with a peculiar kind of panic. "It's gone, Detective," he whispered, his voice a frantic buzz. "The clock, my beautiful, beautiful pendulum clock." And the door was locked. Inside, the lab was a chaotic symphony of wires, beakers, and half-finished equations scrawled on blackboards. But in the center of the room, on a small, worn pedestal, there was nothing. The empty space where the clock should have been felt louder than any sound. "It was a marvel," Professor Thorne said, his voice thick with grief. "A prototype for my temporal displacement theory. It was priceless." Finch walked a slow circle around the pedestal, his eyes scanning every surface. The windows were sealed. The door was locked from the inside. There were no signs of forced entry, no broken glass, no scuff marks. It was a perfect, impossible crime, the kind that made a man feel like he was losing his mind. "Tell me about the clock," Finch said, his voice low and steady. "What was it for?" The professor's eyes darted around the room. "It was an experiment," he stammered. "A way to manipulate time, a temporal oscillator. I was trying to prove that an object could exist in multiple moments at once. A ghost in the machine." Finch's gaze fell to the floor again, near the pedestal's base. Something glinted in the dim light. He knelt, his fingers brushing against a small, intricate piece of metal. It was a gear, perfectly polished, with teeth so fine they looked like they were made for a ghost's watch. He turned the gear over in his palm. It wasn't from the clock. He knew that much. The clock was a marvel of Victorian engineering, all heavy brass and polished wood. This gear was different. It was too delicate, too precise. It was a key, but not to a lock. It was a key to a theory. The pieces clicked into place. The locked room, the missing clock, the professor's frantic whispers about temporal displacement, the gear. It wasn't a crime. It was an accident. The clock hadn't been stolen. It had been misplaced, not in space, but in time. "It didn't disappear, did it, Professor?" Finch said, his voice quiet. "It just went somewhere else. When you tried to make it tick faster, you pushed it right out of this moment." The professor's shoulders slumped. He nodded, a single tear tracing a path down his cheek. "I just wanted to see what would happen," he confessed. "I didn't think it would work." Finch left the lab, the rain still falling, a steady beat against the pavement. The mystery was solved, but the clock was still gone. A ghost in the machine, lost somewhere in the past, or the future, or perhaps in a moment that would never come. And all that was left was the empty space where it had been, and the faint, ghostly echo of a tick that had no time.